What's poppin', boys? So I'm back, and for some reason, my video on worst deaths in history decided to blow up and got well over 60,000 views. So I've decided to make another video similar to that one, and hopefully this video does just as well as the last one did. I read most of the comments on the last video, and a few people pointed out that there were some deaths that I missed that were just as bad, if not worse, than the ones that I put in the video. So today I'll go over the deaths that people brought up in the comments. This video isn't going to be in a top 5 format like the last one was, just because a few people were commenting saying that there were far worse deaths that I didn't mention, and most of the time I would just brush these comments off because I really don't care what people think. But this topic is very serious, so I'm just going to keep this video to a random list in no specific order. Oksana Makar was a 18-year-old girl from the Ukraine. On the night of March 8, 2012, Makar was attacked by 3 men who raped her at an apartment and attempted to strangle her to death with a cord. After that, the men took the barely conscious Makar and went to a nearby construction site. The 3 men then wrapped Makar in a blanket and set her on fire that stayed burning the whole night. The next morning, a passing motorist discovered her badly burnt but still conscious body. Makar was taken to a hospital and then transferred to a burn center where a Swiss surgeon operated on her. 55% of her body was burnt, and she needed her right arm and both feet amputated to stop gangrene from spreading. On the 29th of March, Oksana Makar died from her injuries. Of the 3 men who attacked her, 1 got sentenced to life, 1 got 15 years, and the last got 14 years. Anita Lorraine Kobe was a 26-year-old registered nurse from Australia. On February 2nd, 1986, Anita finished work at 3 p.m., then went to meet up with some friends for dinner. After dinner, Anita decided to walk home since she couldn't contact anyone due to the phone at the train station being out of order. Anita walked alone, and around 10 p.m., a gang of 5 men stopped their stolen vehicle next to her and kidnapped her. Luckily for Anita, a young boy heard her screaming and called the police. Unluckily for Anita, her captors hid in long grass with her to prevent any spotlights from exposing them. The police didn't arrive on the scene in time. It was actually the owner of the stolen vehicle that came looking for them. Eventually the man got tired of looking and went home. In the car, the 5 men ordered for Anita to strip naked, but she refused, begging to be let go, as she told them she was married and currently menstruating. The captors punched her repeatedly, breaking her nose and both cheekbones. The men then forced her to perform fellatio on all of them. After that, they stole money from Anita's purse and filled the car with gas. They drove to a secluded paddock, while Anita was raped repeatedly and continually beaten by her 5 attackers. Once at the desired location, they dragged Anita out of the car and then dumped her brutally beaten body out and began to sexually and physically abuse her for some time. One of the men, John Travers, became aware of the fact that if they let Anita free, after all this, she will more than likely go to authorities, and since she has heard the names of all these men and knows the faces, the men didn't stand a chance getting away with this one. So Travers decided the best option was to kill her and proceeded to slit her throat and almost severed her head. As for the 5 captors, all of them got life sentences, and on February 21st, 2019, one of her captors, Michael Murphy, died of terminal cancer in prison. Leslie Mahaffy was a grade 9 student in Burlington, Ontario. On the evening of June 14, 1991, Leslie and some friends attended a wake for Chris Evans, a classmate who died in a car accident earlier that week. After the wake, Leslie was walked home by a couple of friends shortly before 2 a.m. When they arrived to her house, they discovered that the side door of the house was locked. After Leslie convinced her friends the front door would surely be open, her friends left and went home. To Leslie's shock, the front door wasn't open and she was locked out of the house. She walked to a payphone and called a friend asking to stay the night. Her friend said no, and Leslie walked back to her house to try and wake up her mom. When she returned to her house, she noticed a man, Paul Bernardo, attempting to break into her neighbor's house. When he noticed that Leslie was alone, Bernardo kidnapped her and drove her to his house, which he shared with his wife, Carla Hermalka. This couple was responsible for the rape and murder of Hermalka's sister 6 months prior. Once Leslie arrived at the house, she was raped and abused by both killers for 24 hours. After this, she was strangled with an electrical cord and then was drugged in an attempt to subdue her. The couple claims they were planning on releasing her, but found out she was dead after Bernardo filled his car with gas. The couple tried to resuscitate her, but it was unsuccessful. The couple claimed they weren't trying to kill her and gave her a teddy bear to hold in between assaults to calm her down. The couple moved Leslie's body to the basement and used a circular saw to cut her body into pieces small enough to lift when covered with concrete. On June 29, 1991, Leslie's body was found dismembered and encased in concrete. Less than a year later, on April 16, 1992, the couple abducted another teenage girl, Kristen French, who was a 15-year-old from St. Catharines, Ontario. French was approached by the couple who were acting as if they needed directions. While French was assisting them, Bernardo attacked her from behind and forced her into the car at knife point. French was held captive for 3 days during this time. Bernardo and Hermalka videotaped themselves torturing and subjecting the teen to sexual humiliation and degradation, while forcing her to consume large amounts of alcohol. They murdered her on April 19, 1992. Her body was found in a ditch in North Burlington. As for the killer couple, Carla Hermalka and Paul Bernardo got divorced in 1994, and in 1997, Bernardo was a suspect for another murder. Bernardo was sentenced to life imprisonment, and Hermalka is a free woman who married again and now has 3 kids. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like and I will make a video on this story and possibly some other video suggestions.